first Hyperscape Hub video. We got a really good one in store today. We're going to do an advanced gun breakdown of each and every weapon in Hyperscape. I've got some interesting stats for you, some stuff you may have not seen before. We've got the DPSs for each gun. We've got the rate of fires, the reload speeds. So quite a good bit of info in here. So yeah, let's just jump straight into it. Before we get the actual guns up on screen, a couple things I want to mention before we get into it. The people in this game have 120 health. That means 120 DPS. That's going to take you 1 second to kill them. Obviously, if you hit all shots. The headshot multiplier in this game does change gun to gun. It is not a consistent 2x or 4x. And in this game, it's approximately 1.5. So some guns are higher, some guns are lower. Some guns actually change depending on how many upgrades they've had. But in general, rule of thumb, cool at 1.5 times the damage at a headshot. Yeah, but I think that's pretty much everything. Now we'll go straight into the Riot 1. That'll be our first gun. Now this is a great gun. This is such a all-round, versatile weapon. However, you need to have good aim. Sadly, this does not come with any help of high rates of fire. It does not have a massive mag. It hits hard, but only when you hit the shots. It's something that I recommend everyone try out for sure, even if you don't feel that you have the best aim. It's a gun that can work at close range and long range. You could be going up against a shotgun, and if you do hit those headshots, that guy's going to be running out of the building as fast as he can. Trust me. If you look at the DPS stats on screen, the top DPS at max level is 94, which is a decent DPS, but it's definitely not the top in the game. So definitely the point where this gun seems to shine is the fact that they're such bursty shots. You're going to be looking at potentially 3 shots to kill. That's a couple headshots and a body shot. In fact, a couple headshots at level 5 is going to leave them on 6 HP, so a breath of wind will take them out. It's a great weapon. You can contest snipers at long range. You can contest shotguns at close range. If you've got the aim to back it up, I highly recommend this gun. On to our next gun. Nice and fast, we've got the D-Tap. Now this is a pistol with the lowest DPS in the game. Quite a long way. Down to 5 damage or 6 damage at the top level. It really doesn't shine looking at the stats, but when you start using it and finding where it can shine, which is out on the roofs in open fields, for those of you who don't know, the D-Tap has an ability where it essentially locks on and gives you an aimbot. As long as you keep someone within your reticle, which is a very large range, for approximately 1.5 seconds, every shot you take will hit them. This is actually a lot better than it sounds by the stats, because when you're out in the open on these roofs, there's a lot of movement, it's a very fast-paced game. A lot of the time you won't actually be hitting that many shots with a lot of these guns, and the D-Tap will be the one there that's putting consistent damage down. In solos it's super strong because it puts so much pressure on them, they can't out-pressure you, but you need to be on the offensive. The D-Tap is not a gun where you can be running away and putting poke in, you need to be the one chasing. If you can find a legendary one of these at the beginning of the game, I highly recommend giving it a go. The one thing to note is any break in line of sight will change, will reset the lock-on. So that doesn't matter if it's a little post, a tree, or anything, which can sometimes lead to tough situations. Or on the other side, if you're playing against a D-Tap and you know that, just play around a tree. They're really not going to be able to hit that many shots. Alright, on to our next gun. We have the LMG of the game. We have the Hexfire. Now this gun is unique because of its headshot multiplier. It is the only gun in the game that has a 2x headshot multiplier, which is the highest. It is higher than every other gun in the game. However, this headshot multiplier is only as high for the first 4 levels, and once you get to the 5th level, it goes down to 1.75x, which is still higher than everything else. The DPSs don't shine through to look that amazing, but these DPSs are body shots only, so the second you start hitting headshots with the Hexfire, you're going to be scary. This is a gun which is probably what I'd call a jack of all trades, master of none. It's very good at close range, it's alright at medium range, but it does get outshone when you compare it in specific situations to other guns. The Ripper beats it in long range, the Harpy beats it in close range, but it's definitely a gun that has consistency. It's got a big mag, lots of damage potential, and it's pretty forgiving as well. But you are going to want to look for the headshots. Do not fall back on the fact that it's got a nice big mag. Really look for those headshots, because that's where you're going to start doing the damage with the Hexfire. Now, fast moving on to the Ripper. The Ripper is a really fun gun to use that can sometimes be really frustrating. At least in my experience, I've found that sometimes I'll hit 6 shots in a row and someone will melt like I'm lasering them with a cannon. And other times I'll miss every shot. Honestly, it's frustrating, but rewarding. I think the reason behind that is the slow fire rate. I put on screen, it's 5.7 shots a second, which sounds like quite a lot, but in reality is not that many. It's really not that many, and it's got a little bit of a kick to it. So sometimes when someone's using a slam, if you get one shot a little bit off, most of your shots are going to miss, and you feel like you're not going to put much down. Hip firing is not that strong, so at close range, you're really going to still want to try use ADS and hit those heads. But it can definitely contest ranges. This is where the Ripper kind of shines, is you've got someone sniping on a rooftop. If they miss one shot, you have about 2 seconds or 1.75 seconds before another shot's coming at you. And in that time, you can put enough damage to make them run away all the way back home. Honestly, if someone's standing still, take that Ripper out, aim at that head, don't miss a shot, and you'll have a great time. On to the first of our explosive guns. There are 3 of these in the game. We've got the Komodo, the Salvo, and the Skybreaker. The Komodo, it's probably, well, compared to the Salvo, it's more consistent. The DPS is pretty high. 70 DPS is definitely not bad for a gun with an explosion radius. But it's interesting to note, since the recent update, these shots require to travel at least 15 meters before doing damage. So if you're indoors in these close range situations, it might not be putting as much work as you'd hope. But if you're looking at a rooftop fight or times when people are on the ground, it's going to be really nice. At a higher level, or when you're playing against people who are a bit better, it's going to be tough, because a Komodo, you're really going to want to look at their feet. You want to explode at their feet and get the splash damage for consistent damage. But people who are decent, who have got the movement down, they don't spend long on the ground. They're flying in the air, they're using their double jumps, they're going everywhere they can to stay away from the ground, so you're going to struggle to put shots down. But yeah, that's an interesting thing. Another quick note actually is at level 1 you've only got 4 shots in the mag, which is 100 potential damage, and then a long reload. So if you do drop on a gun and you have a choice between using a Komodo or potentially any other weapon, I recommend using another weapon, because the Komodo, even if you hit every shot, they're still going to have 20 HP left, and you've got a long reload, which is more than enough time for them to put damage down on you or run away. You're really going to want a gun with a faster reload, or a gun which has like a hex with enough damage to finish them in 1 mag. But overall, a good gun. Worth a try, worth a pickup. Onto the Salvo now, which I'd call Komodo's big brother, or at least it used to be. The Salvo used to absolutely destroy everyone indoors. If you were inside and you saw someone shooting a Salvo, you would have to run away, because this thing is going to kill you. Recently, it's not been quite as scary. They did some nerfs to the exploding radius, to the rate of fires. So now the DPS is down to about 40 at max level, which isn't that high. But it does allow you to be inside, use the fact that it bounces twice to hold around corners. And essentially, if you have the high ground and someone's pushing upstairs, they're really going to struggle to push into you. So it's a strong gun, but very specific situations. Once you're outside, even on rooftops, even if people on the ground, you're going to struggle to hit shots. So not a gun I'd recommend at the moment. And it seems like the good old days of the Salvo have passed. Maybe that's not such a bad thing. Now, swiftly onto the Harpy. The Harpy was my favourite gun. I think it's the best gun in the game. And the stats, well, I think they speak for themselves. Even at level 1, 188 DPS. Which means you're killing someone at level 1 with body shots only. I need to repeat, this thing's still headshots, and this is body shots only DPS. At level 1, you're going to be taking someone down in 0.72 seconds. So it's a scary, scary gun. It doesn't have fall off, which means even at ranges you can contest. There's a large spread, so it's not going to be a Ripper. You're not going to see a sniper and force them away. But if someone's running away from you, whip out that Harpy, put 45 shots down at them, a couple will hit. 8 damage a shot at level 5, that's a lot of damage. So I honestly, I can speak all day about the Harpy. I can show you how good it is, but just look on the screen. 214 DPS. It is on another level. It is such a strong gun. But potentially there's one gun that can contest. Potentially one single gun can contest it in close range, and that is our next gun. That is the Mammoth MK1. This is the shotgun. This is the shotgun of all shotguns, because it is our only shotgun in Hyperscape. But the special thing about this is it is the only gun in the game that has one tap potential, which is incredibly strong in a game with a relatively low or slow TTK. That's time to kill, with a lot of abilities to escape when they get in trouble. The fact that you can get close to someone, hit their head, and one-hit them is very, very scary. Even though the Harpy will kill you in less than half a second, the shotgun can take you down in one tap. And there's no faster than that. So, Mammoth, highly recommend the gun. It is tough to use, but very rewarding to hit. Extremely rewarding to hit. There are times I'll use the shotgun, there are times I'll use the Harpy. In general, I'm a Harpy man myself, but I know some people that will definitely take the shotgun any day, because that one-hit potential is something you can't really replace in this game. And talking about one-hits, we'll move on to our next gun, which used to be able to do that. That is the Protocol 5, our sniper. Now, this used to be a great gun. This used to be a gun which you could use at close range and hip fire for 80 to the body and cross-map one-hit headshot someone. How the mighty have fallen. The recent nerfs have taken it down to be maximum headshot damage of 100. It's a gun I can't recommend anymore. It is one that you're not going to use in solos, and in squads, I'd take a Riot 1 instead. The DPS is low because you've got 1.75 seconds between shots. That's without the fact there's only 3 of them and a 2.33 second reload afterwards. It's not high damage. It's not high enough burst. It's not a great gun. So, moving on to our final one then. The Skybreaker. An interesting gun, a unique gun, a versatile one at that. One thing to note, similar to what the Komodo is now, it doesn't do max damage until it's past a certain range, with essentially a drop-off before that. So if you're using this indoors at close range, don't expect to be doing much damage. But if you're able to get on a rooftop, maybe get a slam nice and high in the air and shoot straight down at the enemy, well then you're going to be doing a really nice little burst. You're going to be hitting 50 damage at level 1 or 67 damage at level 3. It's a gun that you want to follow up, not with another Skybreaker shot by yourself, but a secondary weapon, because it's a long time between shots. So you're really going to want to look to hit 67 damage on them with a max level Skybreaker, then drop on them with a Harpy or a shotgun and just finish them off. Or, if you're working with a team and you get a couple of these bad boys, just think of the damage you can do. A level 5 Skybreaker and a level 2 Skybreaker hitting at the same time, or you're going to one-hit someone. And I would not want to be that someone, because these things are not easy to dodge if you don't expect them. And with that, that is all the guns. That is every gun in Hyperscape gone over. I hope you've all enjoyed. I hope you've seen some DPSs for the first time. I know when I tried to look for the damage stats, I couldn't quite find them myself. So, you know, I did a little bit of testing. I tried to work this out myself. We could be looking at a 1 or 2 DPS difference here and there from the reality, and I do apologize for that. But in general, I think this gives a really good ballpark figure. But let me know, are you excited to play this game? Did you play in the open beta? Are you a console player coming for the first time? It's going to be interesting to see what console players are picking up, what guns you think are the best, and especially the patches. I think this game is going to experience a lot of movement, a lot of patches. I think we're going to be seeing a video just like this with some very different damage numbers. But yeah, this has been my first Hyperscape Hub video. I hope you've enjoyed. I've enjoyed making it. I've enjoyed playing this game so much. And let me know what you think. I've got some other vids coming out. We can do more in-depth views of specific guns. We can go over some gameplay together. And in general, just see what's to come for this fun game. I'm not sure how big it will be. But for now, I look forward to August 11th. That's its release. I'll see you on the battlefield. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again soon.